Temptation. Temptation. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Or is it just part of human nature? Temptation. We hear about it all through the readings today. Of course, Adam and Eve being tempted by the devil. Do you not want to be like gods? Eat that fruit. It's all you need to do. There's nothing wrong with it. It's okay. Have you heard that in your mind before? Giving out candy for Lent? It's okay. On Thursday, it's fine. It's only one piece. It's only one M&M. And next thing you know, it's a pound of peanut butter M&Ms, which are delicious. But at the end you go, ugh, I gave in. Of course, Jesus was tempted as well. We hear about this today. But the difference between Adam and Eve and Jesus was, Jesus said no right away, over and over and over again. And what he was saying no to is amazing. The first one, the first temptation, there he is, Jesus being led out to the desert for what reason? To be tempted by the devil. It says it right here. I'm not making this up. To be tempted by the devil. He fasted for 40 days and 40 nights and he was hungry. Why? Yes, he's fully divine, but he's also fully human. He's hungry. He's desiring food. It's probably not the best of himself at this time. He's putting himself out there to be tempted. And all of a sudden the tempter approaches and simply says, if you are the Son of God, command that these stones become loaves of bread. Right away we should go in the back of our mind, where else have we heard this? Where else have we heard if you are the Son of God? When he's on the crucifix, when he's on the cross, if you are the Son of God, command the angels to take you down. But does he? No. Does he give in this time? No. Why? Because he's not here to serve himself, but to serve us. We know he can do it. We know he can tap some stones and make it into bread and feed his hunger. But it's not about himself. It's about serving God. We know when we look at bread in this gospel, we can say, when's the next time we're going to hear about it? When Jesus feeds the 5,000. Not for himself, but for those whom he serves. What else is going to happen with bread? The bread of life. He is the one who gives us our bread. He says one does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes forth from the mouth of God. And he says, my body will be the bread that sustains everyone. This is what I'm called to do, and I'm saying no to this temptation. So the devil goes, fine. Let me give you another temptation. Takes him to the top of the temple and says, throw yourself off. Surely the Psalms say, Psalm 91 will tell you that the angels will protect you. Throw yourself off. Cast yourself down. Put God to the test. Not that we ever do that, do we? God, if you really love me, if you really exist, you'll show yourself. You'll give me this job. You'll have this person like me. You have my in-law finally being nice to me. We never put him to the test, do we, right? And what does Jesus say? Again, it is written, you shall not put the Lord your God to the test. There's no need for him to prove himself. Jesus knows that God exists. Why would we ever put God to the test? We know he exists. We know he loves us. But this is not it in this temptation. You see, Jesus does eventually throw himself down. He throws himself down into the netherworld of hell and rises up again in the resurrection. This temptation. But he casts himself out there and he's raised up. Why? Because he's God, yes, in the resurrection. But there's no need to put this to the test. He says no. And finally the devil gets really smart. He takes him to the high mountain and he shows him everything that this world has to offer. It says all this can be yours. Everything that you see in front of you can be yours. All you need to do is bow down and worship me. And I'll give you everything here. All that this world has to offer. And I love this response, and you should too. What does he say? Get away, Satan. He doesn't go, what was the offer again? He doesn't even think about it. Right response, right away. Get away, Satan. The Lord your God shall you worship, and him alone shall you serve. I am not here to serve you. And Jesus gets it, right? He knows that there's more to this world than this what's in front of us. He can see it. He knows this because he's God. But he said there's more than this. There's more than this earthly power. If I wanted earthly power, I could have it, he's saying. But it's not about that. I am here to raise humanity up to eternity, into the eternal kingdom. This is why I must deny myself. This is why I must say no to you and tell you to leave me. Is this the only time that Jesus is tempted? No. He's tempted all the time. There they are after the transfiguration, and he has to tell Peter, get behind me, Satan. There he is in the Garden of Gethsemane, tempted over and over and over again. So much so that he's sweating blood. Tempted. But he keeps on saying no. Why? Because he's saying no. Because he knows that God exists, because he is God, yes. But also because he's saying no so that he may serve us and serve God most especially. And so the devil leaves. It says the devil left him, and behold, angels came and ministered to him. How beautiful. My brothers and sisters, we are going to be tempted. Temptations are going to come to us every single day. You may have this same temptation to a sin your whole life. You may have been battling it for 20, 30, 40 years, and it still hasn't left you. That's fine. It's going to continue. But how do you respond? What do we say? Do we give it credence or not? There's Adam and Eve in our first reading today, and they started listening. They didn't tell the serpent, they didn't tell him to leave right away. They started listening to this temptation, and they put God secondary. They said, maybe we know more than he does. I know he told us not to eat of this, but does he really know? I want to be like a God. And so they eat of it. And what happens? Evil is brought into the world. Pope Benedict will say in Jesus of Nazareth, the book that he's written on all these things about Jesus, but on the temptation in the desert, he will say what temptation is, essentially, is putting God as a secondary thing. That yes, we kind of believe in him, but he really doesn't know everything. Temptation can be put as well, a temptation to say God's more of an annoyance, something in my life I have to deal with. It's like in-laws or something, right? I'm joking, okay? But anyways, it's that annoyance, whatever it may be. And he's trying to hinder me because he just doesn't know. He just doesn't understand how rough it is. He doesn't understand that I need to have this drink, that I need to cheat on my homework, that, you know what, looking at this is okay, because he just doesn't know. He doesn't understand me. That's temptation. And it's saying, God, you're secondary, you're a hindrance. Essentially what temptation will come down to, Pope Benedict says as well, is this major question. Do we truly believe in God or not? Do we believe that God loves us and that he has the best interest in us or not? The evil one is going to try to fool you. He does. He tries to fool us all the time. But how do we respond? Our temptations are not going to leave. But we have an ammunition that Jesus provides to us right here. And it simply is this. We tell that temptation. We tell the evil one, leave. Get away from me. I have a God who loves me. I have a God who desires for me to be happy. I have a God who denied his own well-being for me out of love. I am his son. I am his daughter. And he is going to be with me. And him alone am I going to serve. And so you evil spirit, leave me alone. Literally, do this in your mind. Call it out. Don't give it any more thought than that. Get behind me, Satan. Get away, Satan. I will only serve God. And what will happen is God will continue to send down his grace and mercy and love upon you. Temptation. Is it good? No. Is it bad? Yes. Are we going to have them? Yes. But how do we deal with it? We tell them to leave. And we go to God and say, God, be with me. Love me. I am your son. I am your daughter. And you alone do I desire to serve.